for me, how I overcame those things, I kept working on what I can do. I would do non-paying theater jobs just to keep working, because if I just wait, this is not going to develop, you know. And I kind of use that chip, you know, to my advantage, and really honed in on who I am. And I can be an intense person, and I like that. And I think from then on, just keep on working, and failing so many times. That helped me. And when I got that really big break of Versace, I was ready for it. I was ready for it, and I grabbed it. You know, the opportunity grabs you, and you grab onto that opportunity.
The Actors Panel, they hope to give important tools to aspiring on and off camera talents so that they are better prepared for life in Hollywood.
I'm very happy that from their experiences they were able to provide insight of the craft of acting and the business of acting to the new actors in the audience. A lot of our parents disregard us from getting into entertainment, which, you know, there's no money, it's a struggle, it's very difficult, and I like to provide those people who have aspirations to become somebody, not somebody, but to pursue their dreams in entertainment, and to hear from others who have finally broken that glass ceiling.
I feel so inspired. I am just so excited to see more Filipino Americans in the entertainment industry, and we can be a part of this. We are a part of this.
Hey! Whoa!
I don't know what we're doing.
Welcome. Hi. Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Facebook live stream land, Twitch audience, everywhere, wherever you're live streaming from. My name is Jason from FACC Hollywood. That's the Philam Chamber of Commerce of Hollywood, where we support the creatives and artists in the business of entertainment. Today we have the Actors Panel with Edwin Santos, and our special guests, we got Lou, we have Earl, and we have Deedee. So welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. Real quick shout out to our sponsor, HomeSmart Realty Group. So if you're looking to buy, sell, rent, invest in the LA metro area, you can find me at jasonarealtor.com. And then also shout out obviously to FACC Hollywood. You know, come join us. Thank you for your support every time for all the creatives and artists out there. So Edwin, what do you got in store for us?
We have in store for all of you out there in virtual land, the 8th Filipino Hollywood Actors Panel. This is our 8th, well, not our 8th year, our 8th panel. It's only our 6th year. Anyway, so we have our panelists here to provide you information about acting, and new this year is voice acting. Since the pandemic occurred, a lot of us did voice acting while we continued to work. So here are our panelists. Great segue, Ed. Our first guest is Ticzon. He is a Filipino-Canadian actor and writer born in Regina, Saskatchewan. His family relocated to Vancouver, British Columbia in the early 90s and have called it home ever since. Lou is best known for playing David Chin on CW's Arrow and Charles de Maculanang on CW's Two Sentence Horror Stories. Here is his reel.
I don't like this. He's stalling. Hey. Hey. What's taking so long?
It's done.
Great. So, you won't mind if we test it out? It isn't working.
Hey, well, it should be.
Then where's the portal?
You want to go to Earth 37? Earth 14?
I want to go to Earth 2.
Earth 2 is gone. It registered at first, but now I see that it's like a shadow. There's no sign of life.
This doesn't make any sense. You're lying. Fix it! Fix it!
Hey, I'm telling you I did. I can fix tech. I can't bring back the whole freaking universe.
I'm so sorry, Laurel.
We were born in Canada. We spoke English. On the streets, we weren't welcome. But on the field, we were the Asahi. Vancouver's champions. Everyone cheered for us. Our people had a voice. Then Canada declared war on Japan. They took us from our homes, called us enemies, forced us into camps. But we brought the game with us. Baseball helped get us through the internment.
The Vancouver Asahi were among the 22,000 Japanese Canadians interned during the Second World War. The team never played another.
Why didn't you tell us, man?
Because I'm Filipino.
What?
I'm Filipino. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me?
Nothing wrong with you.
Wow. Wow.
Dude, it's been so long since I've seen that reel.
What happened?
That was me beating up my girlfriend. We don't do that for real in real life. She kills me after. That's what happens. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just,
wow, that was incredible.
I don't get away with that. Oh, thank you.
Intense.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. What was the film with about Filipino?
So that was there's a gentleman here who goes by the name of Phil Planta. He's a well-known kind of producer director here in Vancouver. He wrote that. It was based on his friend who I guess I'm trying to make this long story short, but basically she was dating I think a Chinese or Singaporean lady, and basically her father made her dump him because he was Filipino. He was the help, right? in Singapore, and so he finds out that the reason she left him was because he was Filipino, and that's what that scene was about. Is after a night of like just kind of having a bender, basically, he opens up to his homies at the end there, and that's what that scene was about.
That was Lee, right? Shorten.
That was Lee Shorten, yeah. That was Lee, good old Lee. He might be in LA right now, I think. I don't know. He's always going back and forth. So.
Right.
So our next panelist is Earl Baylon. He is currently the artistic director of Room to Improv. It's a great show. RTI is an Asian American improv troupe serving the Los Angeles community and beyond. Credits include the recent Tomb Raider video game trilogy as Jonah Mavea. Am I saying that correctly? And he's also on a show called Supportive White Parents, a 1-hour comedic musical at the Second City in Hollywood, and the feature film Lumpia with a Vengeance, winner of the Audience Award at the Hawaii International Film Festival. You can find him co-hosting and talking nerdy right there on Pangeekery, a weekly live video podcast on the Geekish Network Twitch channel. Here is his reel.
I don't know, he thinks he can rid it of sin and weakness. We have to stop him. It's all my fault.
We'll figure it out, okay? I promise.
No. We have to get to the hidden city before Trinity. We have to find this silver box.
Okay, but first, we're gonna help these people get to safety, and then we'll go after the box.
No one is safe! Not if he gets the box first! I have to go! I'm the only one!
You're the only one that can what? You don't know that you caused all this, Laura! Not everything is about you! These people need us here. We can do good now! Besides, what do we gotta go on? A riddle? We're gonna need more than pink fish and silver crowns to get to the hidden city.
Okay, yeah.
Good job, Eric.
Yeah,
That's great. I didn't even know.
Hi, who are you? Who is this?
You said Bones. What's up, dude?
You know this man?
Yeah, no,
He said my name.
You can do it.
I've seen him.
Really?
Yeah.
What, does he light it with his toes?
Oh,
Jesus, go! Go!
How are you so okay with this? This used to be a living human being.
No, he's legit terrible. Remember the neighbor kid who would torture his cats and dogs?
Yeah, that was pretty horrible. Oh, this is the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. Fuck this guy. Why didn't you invite me to your wedding?
Shit. Were you interested in attending?
Of course Dude, I planned your bachelor party.
Which was delightful. It was a small wedding.
You had 300 people there.
They were really small guests.
Are you sure there's going to be food?
Look at that outfit.
Earl, Gandhi went on a hunger strike. You might want to do the same. Dick, just trying to be accurate.
That's good stuff.
Wow.
So fun.
It is so fun. That was awesome.
Well, thank you. It's been a while since I watched that one too, as well. So it's like new all over again.
Yeah.
Our third and final guest panelist today is Deedee Magno Hall. She is best known as the voice of Pearl on Cartoon Network's award-winning animated series Steven Universe. You could tell she's my favorite character. Her theater credits include being Kim on Miss Saigon, Broadway, second U.S. national and Asian tours, Nessarose in Wicked, first U.S. national tour, Diana, Next to Normal, East West Players, If Then, Broadway, and U.S. national tour. Her television and film credits include being part of the original cast of Disney Channel's all-new Mickey Mouse Club, also Goliath, Grey's Anatomy, Third Watch, Dellaventura, Rear Window, Face, Sister Act 2, back in The Habit. And her recordings include 4 albums with Hollywood Records pop group The Party, which I found out they're back together again, I think.
We're getting the band back together.
and she's co-founder of the mommy singing group Mama Bears.
Hell yeah.
Here is her reel.
Nice.
Oh no. There we go.
You looked pretty good doing that red carpet shimmy. Yeah, I know. I would rather elope than go through all this. Can't wait to walk down your aisle.
Oh, yeah. I never get married in Chinese restaurant.
Oh, yeah? Where would you do it, rebel?
I'm not telling you.
Come on. Hey, wait. Come on.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be outdoors.
What is?
I get married by a lake with trees and grass and flowers everywhere. And we'll have a string ensemble playing.
Playing what? And you'll have nothing but sons, and your mom will thank her ancestor star and finally give you the freedom you so long for. Except by then, you'd be needing to please all the little boys, especially the jungle wren you married.
Hey, Akeem. Hey, I did beat
I
Mom.
think that's your mom. Oh, shit.
You call 911?
My mother told me to. Please hurry. She's been throwing up and from the back.
Diarrhea?
They're for the headaches.
We need them out.
Mom, don't! She says you're going to kill her.
Your sister is very sick. I know these people are trying to help, but we need them out of the room so that we can get her to the hospital.
No, you have to help her here. No hospital.
What she needs, we can't do here.
My father will be home soon. He must decide.
Your daughter's gonna die if we don't get her to the hospital.
Please wait until my father gets home.
Radiology for chest, CBC, Chem 20, and blood cultures ×2.
Ladies, you have to go to the waiting room.
What are they gonna do? She needs us here.
They know what they're doing. Right down on the right.
Come on.
Are your parents home?
Please go away.
We need to speak with them. It's important.
They're not here.
Do you know where they are?
They're trying to get my sister's body. The doctors want to cut her open.
They need to do the autopsy. It's the law.
She had a serious illness, one that you can all be infected by.
The doctor said that she died from the medicine.
She was already dying from the disease. There's no way to know that she would have that kind of reaction.
Please, my father will be back soon.
She had an illness called meningitis. It's very serious, and you all need medication to keep from getting it.
My father, he wants to kill you. He wants to kill you and the doctor.
You all need this medication. It's important. If your father has any questions, I'm at the firehouse at King and Arthur, okay? You gotta trust us, please.
We did trust you.
Please be done. Please be done. Oh.
Please be done.
Those are so old.
I think one of the questions I'll ask later is that how are you comfortable watching yourself?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sweaty right now. That was hard.
Is this okay? All right. Oh, sorry about that.
No. I mean, it was just, I don't know. You know.
I know. So let's start off with the discussion. A lot of things to talk about, especially after this last year of craziness. But a lot of things has changed, and then a lot of things have occurred that has changed among or for actors ourselves. So one of the first questions I want to ask is, how has the pandemic in the last year affect you creatively? Like, I know we all stayed at home, whether we're single, not a lot of responsibilities. When we're married with kids, a lot more responsibilities to balance. How are you? And you know, and since production went down and film production went down, there's auditions online and stuff like that. But like for me, I found myself thinking of doing like a Zoom episodic series with puppets or something like that, just to keep me, you know, going while sitting at home, I guess. And also I just recently joined a like a Dead Junkies LA, I think that's what they're called, and it's a bunch of writers from WGA, and they would hire actors to read their scripts and pilots, and we do this every Sunday. So I find that very, very good. But like for the three of you during the pandemic, what did you do to, or like I know it affected you creatively, but what did you do to make sure that that doesn't make it bad? Am I wording this correctly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Edwin?
Oh, sure,
I'm
sure.
sorry. Go ahead.
I think what you're saying is like, how did we kind of pivot, right? And that's been kind of the key word over pandemic. How did we pivot our creativity into something useful so that we kind of kept our saw sharp over pandemic, right? That kind of thing. I know that a lot of I talk about this with my Twitch chat a lot, and everybody's I say like so many people I know in the industry turn to things online, Twitch included, which is kind of what I did, which is why I bring it up. A lot of actors, especially Asian American actors, we are all in this big Twitch chat, and we all or we're in big Instagram Facebook chat, and we all talk about how a lot of us just needed to perform, you know, a lot of us just needed to be out there and entertain people. So a lot of people turned to Twitch, like Yoshi Sudarso, Manish, James Tang, all these dudes, Victor Chi, a lot of people that we know. And I think it's not quite the same, right? Twitch streaming and acting, but it definitely kind of puts you in the same headspace, and that's part of what has kept me going over pandemic. But also stuff that you know, you can still be creative here at home. Like a lot of us got a lot of writing done, and that's always been helpful. But also voiceover. You know, voiceover has become like a mainstay for a lot of people. I don't know about y'all, but
working on it. I'm trying to get into that industry.
Right.
I think it's a harder transition. I don't know. For me, it was. I think I mentioned earlier that I was lucky that I had jobs to go back to because you know they were put on hold when everything shut down. So like the last half of 2020, I was actually working, which was like I felt so blessed and lucky that I had these jobs to come back to. But more recently, I guess 2021 has been rough. Not even gonna lie, right? I think just like everything, industry-wise, and everything that's happening, with anti-Asian hate and kind of all that side of stuff. I just got super, to be real with you guys, I got super depressed and anxious, and like I just wasn't in a good place, and I found it really hard to do anything creative. I felt like I was just trying to survive, kind of, to be honest with you guys. I didn't really know what to do with myself. I just felt so restless all the time. And there's a weird thing here where, you hear people here say, oh, that's like in the States, we're fine here in Canada. And I'm like, no, we're not, man. We're not. Like I walk down the streets and I get people calling me derogatory terms from across the street. Like it's, we got that stuff here. So there was kind of that aspect of it too, where people are kind of telling me my experiences aren't sort of valid here. I don't know. So it was just kind of like really rough. Yeah, that's kind of, to be honest, that's still kind of where I am. Just to keep it real with you guys, but not to be too, I've been trying lately to just get back into writing, like Earl mentioned. But yeah, that's kind of also been, it's just tough. It's just really tough, right? Just to be focused on anything. But It's cool to see a lot more Filipino content out there, so that's really uplifting. With, like, Trese coming out, it's already out, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I need to watch that, and hopefully that'll kind of fill my heart with some joy. But yeah, we're trying out here.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Did Canada go on lockdown?
We did, yeah. We did for, I think we're technically still kind of in semi-lockdown. I think June the 15th, things are starting to, I think, like, movie theaters opening back up again. That'll be nice, because that's something that I definitely missed, because I just, like, you know, that was like date night with me and my lady, and we haven't been able to do that in a while, and that was always something that kind of helped us, you know, just get through life. But yeah, so that'll be good, you know.
Lou, I appreciate you opening up about that. Almost made me get all teary-eyed, because the first part of the pandemic for me personally was tough for different reasons. My kids, when we found out that the schools were being closed, we actually took our kids out of school the day before they shut down schools, because my husband and I were just concerned about what was going on. We had no idea. So we decided to keep them home, and then looked for alternative ways. When they were trying to get back online, it was just a crazy mess. So we had to look for alternative ways for them to get their education, and we ended up enrolling them into private school, online private school. So they would be on a completely different curriculum. But we also had thought about moving. And so the beginning of the pandemic, I felt like we were quite busy, because people were so starved for entertainment and just being creative. I found myself being super busy making stay-at-home videos, you know, like I all of a sudden was like recording all of these songs and music videos, and being and I was very grateful to be asked to be part of so many different online shows, fundraisers, events, and things like that. And it was so fun. And I felt like, okay, this is kind of a way to exercise that creativity, that creative bone, that creative muscle, I'm sorry. And so, like, that was fun for me. And I felt like there were back-to-back events happening, like, so much. And I felt like a lot of people were discovering how much they could actually get done being at home, not having to leave your home. And then, similar to Lou, I kind of started getting into kind of a funk, you know. It wasn't the same. Like Earl mentioned, you know, doing these online things are just not the same as being in front of a live audience and getting that, you know, that interaction with people, because we were meant to be in community with each other. And so, I also missed my family tremendously, my parents and my sisters, my brother, and extended family. And we found ways to safely gather with our friends and things like outdoor events. And that was life-saving, I think, especially for my kids, because I worried so much about just their mental health, and then mine as well, you know, just trying to keep it together. And like Edwin, like you mentioned, you know, just juggling career and then home life, and being home with my kids 24/7. Like, I was like, I miss the teachers. God bless the teachers. No, I really do. I've always been so grateful for the teachers in school. But like, oh my goodness, I just like, I got so many gray hairs this pandemic. I had like, it was no joke, so hard for me personally. I know a lot of people were struggling during for the school, for the kids, just having to do online school. That was a really, really tough time. And I think my kids did much better than I did. I was like, whew, it was hard. But I have found that I've been getting much closer to my faith. Like, leaning on my faith has been so wonderful for me and my family. I've been going to church either online, or now we're starting to go back. You know, just being in a room full of people, it's so wonderful. And last night, a friend of ours invited us to Broadway Barcata. They did a live show celebrating Philippine Independence Day, and I got to say, it was just so wonderful just to be in a room with people and listening to live music. And they put on a wonderful show, and it was wonderful. And I can't wait for more things like that to happen. But yeah, so I'm there with you, Lou. This has been a tough time for everybody. So I just hope that everybody's taking care of themselves, you know, and being okay with not being okay sometimes.
For sure.
But then finding the help that they need. But finding the help that you need. Try to stay positive, looking up, not looking back. Keep moving forward. You know, all of the good things.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, Deedee, that one of the things that we do miss is community and having that that interaction with the audience. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, I believe you started in theater first, correct? I mean, Miss Saigon was your first theatrical stage gig.
It was my first Broadway show. Prior to that, I did a little bit of television when I was a kid.
Okay.
So the Mickey Mouse Club was my first professional job, and I was about 13. So that was on the Disney Channel, and yeah, that was a long time ago. We celebrated our 30-something year anniversary not too long ago.
Is that like with Ryan Gosling?
That was, I was part of the original cast, and so there were 12 of us originally, and then you know, we were getting a little bit older. Then the party formed, and then I'm just reading the little things. I get very distracted. Like, well, sorry. What was I saying? Yes, it's the same show that Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, you know.
But you weren't on at the same time as them.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like okay, so we were there. I was part of the group, The Party, at that point, and so it was the same show, and all these guys we were all there together, but I didn't like actually have scenes with them because they wanted to keep the party separate for some reason. I don't know why. But you know, we shared the you know, the lunchtime together, and we got ready in the same makeup trailer and shared the rehearsal spaces. But yeah, they were very little back then.
Fancy.
They were very cute and very talented way back then.
I've asked this question to John in 2018 when I had him as a panelist, because he did Miss Saigon and all. But the question was, I mean, what was the transition like from live performance theater, Miss Saigon, to film and television? Because I think you, after Miss Saigon, you did Sister Act, correct?
No, actually, Sister Act 2 came first. So Sister Act 2 was after the Mickey Mouse Club, and then The Party, and then Sister Act 2. And then shortly after, I did Miss Saigon. I feel like it depends on what the show is. If it's a big, you know, spectacle of a show like, oh gosh, I don't know, Hello Dolly. I don't really know, because the shows that I have done, even though Miss Saigon was a big spectacle of a show, I felt like the scenes were very intimate, and they could sort of be like, if there was a camera, for instance, if there was a camera on stage, just as long as you open up yourself to the audience so that you're not closed off and doing a scene like this. I felt like the moments could be very intimate, and you know, sorry, I get distracted. It depends on the show, because I did Next to Normal, and that was, so it was like, it was
That's
cinematic.
such an awesome show.
I love that show. Such an amazing show to be part of. But like those, I feel like if you're doing an intimate scene, instead of you kind of shouting at the audience, you're creating something that draws the audience towards you, as opposed to you like performing a big number. You know what I mean? So there's I think the difference. Did that make any sense? I don't know. I don't even know if I answered the question.
I think
it made enough sense.
So Earl, you mentioned voice work in your explanation after what you did during the pandemic. I know that you so Deedee and Earl has done voice work. Lou, I don't know if you have, but
one voice gig. I can tell you about it later if you want.
Absolutely, please.
Just give me a general consensus. How does one get into voice acting?
I'm going to say that my journey into voice acting is rather atypical. How it happened, well, I guess the first thing I ever auditioned for was a commercial way back in the day, and this was like a commercial for my commercial agent, and it kind of just fell in my lap. And then what really pushed me into voiceover was, of course, booking Tomb Raider, and that was another thing that it came from my commercial rep. Shout out to Jamie at KMR, and she sent me out for we wouldn't even know what it was really. I fit the spec, so I went in and I auditioned, and it's just like an on-camera audition because it was mocap. And I booked it. We found out later that it was Tomb Raider, and I was like, oh my god, well, I'm in this world now. And that's what happened. And that's how I got into voice acting. And everything is kind of, in terms of voice acting, has kind of sprung from there, just because of the people that you work with and people, you know, the production people that you meet on that track. Yeah, that's my rather atypical path into voiceover. I know a lot of people like create demos and grind, and I'm that dick. I'm that dick that was just like, well, here I'm gonna audition for a thing, and let's see, book it, yay! So yeah.
I mean, you got that voice though. You got like such a great voice.
Oh, thanks. This is the one thing that took a long time to develop, because I did not sound like this, and like in my
really
my younger days, like I didn't know how to like relax my just my entire self. I was always high strung, and it took a while to get here, but a lot of voice control, a lot of singing.
You say, yeah, that's right, because I saw you in that show.
Yeah, you did. You did come to Supportive White Parents at one time when Joan was there, right?
Yes,
I thought I saw Deedee there.
Yes.
Thanks,
yes. So of course, that's one thing that's been so wonderful too. The Filipino Asian community has been so supportive. You know, we just try to go out and see if we can, just to support each other, and I just feel like there's just so much love there, and everybody wants to see everybody do well. And Earl, so are you saying that Tomb Raider was the first thing that you auditioned for, and then you just booked it?
It was the first big thing I auditioned for. I had booked a really a smaller video game, maybe like months prior, and then that was one that really like, hey, there's this huge world, and welcome to it. So it was a lot of learning and trial by fire. Yeah, it was a lot to learn in a very short span of time, but I'm grateful for the experience, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard this, that it's a pretty tight knit like family, you know, like people, like once you're in, you know. I've heard that.
Right.
I remember auditioning for, it felt like thousands of auditions for commercial, for television, for TV shows, movies, all things voiceover. And so when the audition for Pearl for Steven Universe came, it was just another audition that I was going in for. And prior to that, I did one little thing for like HBO. Oh gosh, story time. Oh gosh, I'm so terrible. I can't remember. It was that long ago. It was way before all the other things. But I can't even remember. Princess and the Pea, something like that. But that was the only other voiceover thing that I had ever done. And then I sang some jingles in New York. But when Steven Universe came, I auditioned for 2 different roles on that show. And then I knew that they wanted it to be musical. Rebecca Sugar, who created the show, she wanted everybody to be able to sing on her show as a musical show. So I was like, awesome. I love that. And then when I booked it, I had no idea what it was going to be like. You know, I had no idea. Awesome. But I have had such a wonderful ride since the beginning of that show, and I'm hoping that, you know, it can lead to other things. You know, I've been doing a little bit of voiceover here and there from home as well, and I'm so happy that I've been able to voice. I feel so grateful to it that I've been able to voice some Filipino characters, like a couple of them or 3 of coming up. I can't really talk about them any, but they're specifically Filipino characters, so it's cool.
Wow.
And also on Sister,
so cool.
and Steven Universe was the first cartoon I had ever seen that had Filipino representation. One of the characters, who's half Filipino, I believe, Lars, he actually baked ube roll on the show. There was an episode where he actually baked an ube roll.
That went completely viral because everyone's trying to figure like what's going on. Is Lars Filipino? Everyone's trying to figure it out. But
have they figured it out? I just assumed that he was half. I thought he was.
Well, with you now saying it, just confirms that he is Filipino. So
I think so.
But I mean, like, I mean, that's Steven Universe. Not, I mean, it's also well, groundbreaking. I don't want to use. Well, I'll use it. Groundbreaking, because it has you and Shelby and Jennifer and I think Charlene. I mean, there's 4 of you there as leads, and you know, I whatever. I mean, it's great. It's a very good show and all. Lou, you have a voiceover story?
Okay. So NBA Live, right? The video game. Are you guys familiar with the tenement court in the Philippines? It's like a famous basketball court in the Philippines. It's like in between. It's a crazy, it's like this concrete looking thing. But basically, you know, like famous NBA players have gone there and you know, play basketball there and stuff. So it's like a really kind of big deal in the basketball world. So anyways, they wanted to put the stage into the game, and they needed someone to just yell things in Tagalog and like, and then like with the Filipino accent too. So they sent me this audition, and like they just want you to say things like that you would yell on the basketball court, and I was like, but they want it, and they want it in Filipino, and I was like, oh, okay, like how, like are they sending me a script, or they just want me to wing it? They just I think they're gonna send you like a general thing, but you can just do whatever. I was like, okay. and this is one of those few moments in my career, I guess, that I just knew that I was gonna book it, because I think I mentioned earlier that just like there's not a lot of, at least at the time, there weren't a lot of Filipino actors in Vancouver, and then even less who could speak Tagalog, right? And so I was I can't believe I did this, but I just like I took my phone and I went to like the stairs in my apartment building, and I recorded it there, and it sounded awful. But I was so sure that I was gonna book it that I just sent it anyway. I didn't even like edit it. I think I just like I'm like, here it is. I'm gonna say stuff in Tagalog, and then I'm gonna send it. And then sure enough, I booked it. And then so I like the next week I was in the studio just like yelling things in Tagalog.
That's awesome.
That's like it's the only voice gig I've ever gotten. I was hoping like I'd love to do more, because I'm a huge nerd and I love video games, and I'd love to be part of that world too. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
I did. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, this is a long time ago. I did a commercial, going into the room. It was for a smartphone commercial, and the breakdown was I'm supposed to play a Kiwi frontiersman leading a group of Americans to the mountains of knowledge, I think. And then one of the people's smartphones were off, and they were kind of like, "Oh, you should try the smartphone. This is better," and stuff like that. I only had one line, but they wanted it in Kiwi, and I didn't know. First of all, I don't know how to speak Kiwi. I don't know how to speak Tagalog. They gave me the line in English. I'm like supposed to, so I tried to learn how to speak it in Kiwi through YouTube and stuff like that. I can't do this. Let me do it in Tagalog. I called my uncle, like, "Can you say this line in Tagalog?" I don't think they could tell the difference. I did it in Tagalog at the commercial. A casting associate came out like, "Is that what is that language?" I said, "Kiwi."
Kiwi? Were they looking for Maori, or were they looking?
Yeah, exactly. It was a Maori. Yeah, exactly.
Maori. Okay.
Yeah. But the casting associate, the assistant, believed it was when I said Kiwi. I mean, she believed it, but I didn't get the job. Whatever. But I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I mean, I don't have that language like most of you can speak. It's time to brush up, I guess.
Lou, do you speak Tagalog? Like fluently? Yeah. Fluently?
Pretty. Like I want to say yes, but when I get in front of someone, I get self-conscious and I start to doubt my ability. Because usually it's just like with my parents. So and then it's kind of just evolved into like Douglish, right? Because that's kind of what it is now. Yeah. But so when I get in front of someone who's just like fully speaking Tagalog, I might have to take a second, think about what I'm saying, just to make sure the grammar's right, because I don't want to sound like an idiot. But yeah, I'd say I could carry a conversation in Tagalog.
Dude, that's better than me.
Yeah.
Absolutely better than me.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I have an audition for Tagalog speaking things, I always call my parents. I'm like, can you tell me if I'm saying this correctly?
Marunong po kayo mag-Tagalog.
Mag-Tagalog. Yeah.
Kunti lang.
Konti lang.
Kasi Filipino ako, pero hindi ako ipinanganak sa Pilipinas.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's pretty
so
good.
I learned how to say that so that I can speak English the rest of the conversation.
That's fun.
Medyo lang po.
So Edwin, do you speak a different dialect?
Yeah, English. That's all.
Oh, really?
That's it. I had a Chicago. I'm from Chicago, so I had a Chicago accent when I came to LA. They caught it. I didn't notice, but that disappeared too. So I
feel like you have some kind of accent, don't you?
Maybe it's because my back teeth is missing. Maybe that's what you're hearing. No.
Oh, dude,
I'm kidding. I don't have an accent, but
I could have sworn you had like some kind of Filipino accent or something.
Maybe that's it because I noticed like when I hang around people a lot, which is now recently in the last year, my family, I will pick up on it. Right? I don't notice it, but people will notice it. So maybe that's it.
Yo, I had a Filipino accent until I was 6. So, because back then it's all I was with was relatives, my parents, and then I lost it because I went off to school.
Yeah.
Were you born here, Earl? Were you born?
I was born here. I was born in LA and grew up in Long Beach. So
okay.
Yeah, what's funny too? There's a home video of me speaking English, but it had like the thickest Filipino accent because of my parents.
Yeah,
right?
When I was 3 or 4, I had the thickest accent.
And I was like, I was pretty sure I was born in Canada. Why do I sound like that?
I know. I was like, it was a shock to my system because I saw it. It's old. It was all like on 8mm, or whatever, one of those projectors. Yeah. That's how old I am. And I was like, I'm singing the ABC song in the Filipino accent, and I was like, what is this? What is this? It was one of those. It was like an existential
that's
crisis.
Not me.
That looks like me. That sounds like my voice, how it was back then. But like, what is that?
Yeah, it sounds exactly like how your voice sounds like now, just more fob.
I know.
I remember somebody telling me, because we learned from our parents. I mean, you know, that's
Right.
we grew up.
Yeah.
But I remember somebody asking me, how do I make chicken adobo? And I was just going off of what my parents told me.
Right.
And I was literally talking to some friends who were not of Filipino descent. And I said, well, first you have to deprose the chicken. And I went, deprose. Defrost. My whole life, I thought it was deprose.
Oh my god! You made the realization in that second. That's amazing.
Oh my god!
I was like, first you have to deprose the chicken.
I love it.
Oh my god, that's
like,
good.
Defrost.
Defrost.
At least you didn't say chicken.
Chicken.
Defrost the chicken.
Defrost. First you have to defrost the chicken.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Unless, of course, you
fantastic.
get fresh chicken from the market that day, then you don't have to deprose it.
The chicken. No, you wouldn't have to.
I do want to say that, like, kind of about the voiceover thing, that like even now, like what Deedee says, it's like even though I'm in this industry now, it's still a grind. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of auditions that you send out. So
yeah, same.
It's not like you're like because we're famous or because you're famous, because anybody is famous, and really that they just get a job sometimes.
But also everybody's voice is so different. You know, you never know what they're looking for. And one of the things that somebody told me a long time ago is that it's awesome if you can mimic somebody else's voice. Say they can't get the actual person to come and do this job, so they want somebody to sound like that person. So it's such a talent to be able to mimic somebody's voice, but nobody can mimic your own voice. So you just never know, you know, what they're looking for. That's why voice acting can be really for anyone, and who just has a very unique voice and nobody else sounds like them. It really depends on the person. It really depends on the project, you know, and what they're looking for, or what they're listening for, rather.
So we spoke earlier about about Filipino accents and voiceover and such, which will lead me now to representation. Now, before I ask this question, I want to ask Lou this question. So, when you got 2 Sentence Horror Stories, the Imposter episode, I mean, how did you feel when you read the script, and what was your impression of it, and how did you react to it? Like, because it's a Filipino Canadian story, right?
I think American. I mean, I don't even know if we have it on our Canadian Netflix here. But yeah, I mean, I got that audition and I was super stoked to see something Filipino specific, you know, because they're so rare. I have had this thing though, and maybe Deedee, I think maybe it might have been the same for you because we're both light-skinned Filipinos. But I think the industry has always had a tough time seeing me as Filipino. So, and that's why with the voice thing, going back to that voice job, that's why I was so confident in booking that, was because I knew they wouldn't be judging it off of the way I looked, but only on the way that I sounded. And so that's why I was like, okay, if it's just my voice, I'm for sure booking this. And that's why I had the confidence to do it in the stairs. And I was right. But so with 2 Sentence Horror Stories, I was super stoked to do it. And I put all the work and the love that I would put into anything into it, with hopes that I would book it, right? But I was like, the funny thing is, I did an audition I think the day after that for the new Kung Fu series on CW. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I have a better chance booking this Kung Fu job than I do booking 2 Sentence Horror Stories, just from like historically from how my career's gone. But it was a nice surprise when it turned out the other way, when I was wrong and I actually ended up booking 2 Sentence Horror Stories. And I think a lot of it was thanks to Liz, who was the executive producer, because we had a talk afterwards about it, and she was like, I saw your tape and I had to fight for you. And I was like you know, that's like who tells you that ever, right? Like that was such an amazing thing to hear that from an executive producer of a show, first of all. And so, you know, I was so thankful and grateful for her. And like on set, anytime we chatted, I was always just like, thank you, you know, for seeing me, just for seeing me as, you know, as who I am, you know, because it's not like they asked you to slate, well, like your ethnicity or anything, but they did ask you to slate what languages you spoke. So they could have easily assumed that I was just, you know, someone who would just speak Tagalog or something. I don't know, right? But so it meant the world to me to be able to finally kind of represent my culture on screen, you know, because that was just something I'd never had the chance to do before. Just in NBA Live, saying 3 points. You know?
NBA Live are you in?
NBA Live 20. It might have been 2020 or 2019. One of those. It was one of the more recent ones. Because I do like the year before, right? Like 2019 would have been 2020.
Right.
Yeah. I'm losing track of what I'm saying. I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, it was special for sure to get that job.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's not just it's not just the role that you got, and you played a Filipino character on that episode. You had a family. You know, you had Carolyn, mother, Sarah, Jasmine played your sister, and Sarah played just someone who walked in and spoke in Tagalog. I was just like, wow, this is awesome. But with that happening, and like that happened after when I found out, well, we all found out that Superstore, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and The Good Place were all being canceled. You know, just ending while they're on top. That's cool. But that would also mean, okay, there's now a lack of Filipino lead characters on TV. I feel that a lot of us, people of color, in terms of actors, we seem to thrive more in theater, streamers, and back in the day, cable TV, I think. Broadcast TV is kind of catching up, and film is, forget it. Like, I don't know what's going on with film, but I mean, recently there have been some shows that have been green-lighted that has Filipino leads. NCS Hawaii has Vanessa Leshi, With Love from Amazon with Vinny Rodriguez. He's going to be a series regular on that, and a few others I can't name. I have a list, and I can't keep updating it, which is great. But I also feel there's not a lot of us. There's like we've been here since 1587, our culture, our people, and we're the 3rd largest or maybe 4th largest immigrant group in the United States, the biggest group in California. Why do we continue to lack mainstream media representation? Why is that? We're the largest people here in the United States, yet we're not reflected on mainstream media.
I don't know. That's the big question. You know, I just was looking up that show Nurses, and I don't think I saw. I was like, nurses. There's got to be a Filipino nurse on that show, at least one. You know, I honestly I don't know. I think that there are. I have some friends who are writing now who are trying to get their work just to be seen. Does it have to do with the actual people who are, you know, in power, to the producers, the executive producers, the people that are in the places that actually green light these projects? If they're whoever these people are in the room that make things happen, people who are, you know, willing to take risks, you know, with people who are not as well known, who don't have as big a name. If it means that people have to just continue creating and doing the best that they can to get it in the right hands for it to make the steps forward, honestly, I don't know. I don't know, because we're certainly out there. I mean, there's so many of us, and artists in all aspects of the industry, you know. behind the camera, in front of the camera, you know, music, acting, writing, producing. We're definitely all here. I don't know what the answer is.
Right. I'm not sure there's a simple answer is the thing. Even then, I mean, we could point to several things. We could point to the fact that, like, once, well, at least with the most recent, I can only speak from my own experience, but, like, you know, once the most recent, not the most recent, but the kind of the group of immigrants that came here in like the 60s and 70s, which is when my parents came over, they were so hell-bent on fitting in, you know, and it was never really it's weird because, like, I think and I posted something about this on my Facebook. Like, there was a lot, I feel like there was a lot of pride in like certain enclaves, enclaves in, like, say, Los Angeles or in Virginia Beach, San Diego, Long Beach. There was a lot of pride about being Filipino in those enclaves, but it didn't really cross over into mainstream media. And I don't know why that is. We could talk about that all day, but how long, I mean, how recent has it been even that, like, I can think maybe even just in the last 10 years where there's been a joke on TV or in the cartoon that's like, oh, what's a Filipino? Because they just don't know. They know they're Asians, but they have, like, you know, Spanish last names. I don't understand. And I'm not sure if that is just because gosh, now I'm thinking about if it's just the whole thing where, like, you know, our parents were so adamant about us going into areas like medicine or engineering, and that just made very few of us go into entertainment, and it's only like later on, like, some of us are older that actually start making it into entertainment, and now that we're infiltrating into that industry, we're starting to have writers and executive producers and directors that are actually telling our stories. Maybe that's just it. You know, it can go all the way back to, like, why we were brought over here in the first place, to, you know, create more. Why the U.S. created the conditions in the Philippines to create more nurses to ship over. You know, it's huge. I don't know. It's breaking my brain just thinking about it. I could write a paper. I will write a paper on this. It's gonna be a tweet thread. But yeah, it's just, I think there are a lot of ramifications to the question, and it's kind of hard to answer in this little space. But I think all of those things have led to this point where, like, we never have had that presence in the industry, and now that people are starting to going into the industry and starting to get a full foothold in it, we're starting to see the representation. I mean, look, I know we brought up we were talking about Easter Sunday before we went live, but, like, there's also Joseph, right? That's happening. Him and Randall Park are working on that, right? Mm-hmm. And Deedee just said she had some secret stuff going on, and we were talking about some other secret stuff going on. So, I mean, there are things happening.
Waiting in the wings.
Yeah, everything is waiting in the wings. We're sitting on the precipice of something, and it's taken a while to get here, but hopefully this will be like some kind of critical mass.
I think a lot of people they've had a lot of time to think about their creativity, and you know, just people are getting creative, and they're writing about their stories. Everybody's writing about their individual stories, and, you know, I think it's just a matter of time. I mean, there's a lot of things popping up here and there. I keep seeing on my thread just people creating and making things happen.
mean, it's a good time. Even if we talk about like in terms of the broader AAPI representation, how when I started professionally, which was like 2008, the kind of breakdowns you would see back then for Asian American actors versus now, they're far more diverse. They're not there yet, but it's no longer scientist's best friend, masseuse, you know, karate instructor.
You know how many times I got Chinese triad here, just because of shows like Arrow and, you know, all the sci-fi stuff that we got, like Chinese triad or tech guy. That was just like, that was everything I auditioned for were those things.
Yeah.
But it's definitely changing now. So I mean, hopefully it happens sooner than later. You know? But things are happening. I believe that.
I feel like I'm getting some more and more Filipino specific auditions for things. So that's, I think it's
same here.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it and blast it off Twitter. On a lighter note, with the characters you have played as Filams or Filipino Canadians, what has been the feedback from Filipino viewers of your prominence playing Filipino characters in television or in film or stage? Have you gotten any feedback? Like,
mostly just like finally is what I see a lot of, you know, legit, you know, it's always just like finally,
right?
You know, or like it's nice to be represented, or, you know, like the things that you would expect, really, you know, the things that we're fighting for, and it's just people just being super stoked that it's happening, you know.
Yeah, it's all been very positive. Sometimes, you know, I'll hear somebody say that they were inspired by something that I had done years ago, and it warms my heart to know that it has affected somebody in a positive way. I remember coming out of the stage door from doing a performance of Miss Saigon on Broadway, and a young person came up to me and said, I used to watch you on TV, and it was so neat to see you on stage. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then they were like, yes, I loved California Dreams. And I went, oh,
ouch,
that wasn't me. That was my dear friend Jenny Kwan.
Oh my God.
But still, Filipino, represent.
Oh my God. I just remembered something that I saw a long ass time ago on the internet that that has to do with you. And I was doing this I was writing a piece on, you know, I would blog a lot back in the day. I was writing about Lea Salonga, right? And I googled, I needed pictures, so I searched Lea Salonga, and there's a picture of you standing next to a dude, and he captioned at the bottom Lea Salonga, and I was like, that's,
what?
I think that's Deedee Magno.
What an honor! What an honor!
That's hilarious.
I love Leia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah. It's I do want to say that when the news of who was going to be on this panel came out, one of my friends texted me, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're on a panel with Deedee." She's the first time I saw somebody that I related to on screen, because she used to watch
California Dreams.
Yes. No. Mickey Mouse Club. So yeah. So what's up, Kurja? Shout out to you.
Oh, that's so nice. What's up? Shout out to Kurja.
I'm gonna click that.
I'm gonna ask this question. It's a little I'm not sure if it's controversial. People have asked me this question. I don't even know how to answer this because, well, like when we studied acting, which means you can play any role, right? You can just play any role. You can play, you know, Tom Sawyer or whatever. You know, you can play any role. Period. And then the term, this conversation came out maybe before the pandemic and then well into the pandemic, about colorblind casting and color conscious casting. So let me understand this complete. Let me try to make this. I got the right definition, I believe. So colorblind casting or non-traditional casting is the practice of casting without considering the actor's ethnicity, skin color, body shape, sex, and or gender. Color conscious casting is the opposite, taking no consideration the actor's skin color, body shape, all characters. So, so I feel anybody can play any role, but then we find ourselves saying something like, well, how come that guy's playing a Filipino American character? It's not even Filipino. Or why is he playing Asian? He's not Asian. Or not quarter Asian. Or, all this crazy talk. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, and I even get debated on Twitter, like, how come you're pushing this guy? He's not even, he's a white guy. It's like, well, but he has a quarter Filipino, so I think that's fine. To me, it's fine. But what is your opinion of this conversation? If you have an opinion, I don't. Yeah.
I think I've always been just of the mind of just like cast whoever's best for the part. I think that's just how I've seen it. I mean, yeah, like I understand the need for like authenticity and why people want that, and you know it makes sense in itself, and I get it. But I think maybe it's just me being an actor and you know, like understanding that yes, I have had the training and that's like I do, like you said, I feel like I could play multiple, you know, parts in different ethnicities, and I've put a lot of effort into being able to represent other cultures. You know, I've done the homework, and you know, it's not just the acting work, it's the history, and you know, making sure I'm like respectful to all those things. So you know, if say there's like a Filipino part and someone ended up booking it who wasn't Filipino, as long as they kill that part and they're respectful and you know they understand what they're representing, then I personally would be cool with it, and I'd be like, respect, you know, you're killing that, you look like a Filipino, you sound like one, you understand the culture, great, you know. But if you're going to be ignorant about it, then we have a problem. That's kind of at least how I feel about it personally. But on the flip side, if someone's kind of like, yeah, but I think it's better if we do cast someone who's like authentic, then I also understand that side of things. So I don't know. Maybe that's like the easy answer, but I don't know. You know, actors, man, we work so hard. You know, it's kind of like also just let us work. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right. I think that the question always pops up when, I think we have to look at it in terms of the power dynamic, right? There's definitely a majority. We're talking about white people, and they do have the majority of the roles written for them for a person who is Caucasian, and that I think is where the problem lies. If like we have a role that could have gone to somebody of color and it gets filled with somebody who presents as Caucasian, then it's a problem, you know. And I think that could they have played it? Yeah, but like that makes me think like, oh, you just didn't look hard enough, you know. And it wouldn't, of course, it wouldn't be a problem if there were enough roles to go around. But we, as like, you know, people of color, specifically, and very much so, like Filipino roles, we're all fighting for scraps. So, and when one of those scraps gets taken away, I mean, it's like, that's bullshit, 100%. And I'm not saying that we should fight for scraps or that they should be scraps at all. They shouldn't be scraps. You know, there should be enough of those roles to go around, enough of those, enough of that space created for people to not have to feel like they're fighting for scraps. So, I mean, again, it's a complex question, but that's my stance on it. And if we do get to a spot where we don't have to look at the power dynamic, I mean, that's cute and shit that colorblind casting exists, I guess. But you can't, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, and you can't look at it like that. because this power imbalance exists, and you have to take that into consideration.
I prefer the term color blessed. You know, I growing up in the industry, the very first project that I did, the Mickey Mouse Club, was so colorful.
Right.
It didn't occur to me that I looked so different from everybody else because I was so young. I was a little bit oblivious to, race. I grew up both places that I grew up in, San Diego and in doing the show in Orlando. I was always surrounded by so many different ethnicities. So it wasn't a thing. It wasn't like a thing that was at the forefront of my mind. The thing that I took away from that experience was we were all just kids wanting to act and sing and dance, and oh my gosh, we get to call it our jobs. It was amazing. It was such an amazing experience. I feel like there's a lot more. I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit more of the division now more than I did back growing up. I love East-West Players for that specific reason, because they were creating shows or they created a space where they could do this color blessed casting, where as long as the story is being told, as long as the story that is being told isn't compromised, like Lou said, cast who is best for the role, and who can execute that specific job and and to help tell that story and elevate that story. So I think it also comes down to the people creating the work, make these colorful stories, but also tell the story. And if you're telling the story authentically and telling it from your truth, then it shouldn't really have to matter. I think that everybody is that's the beautiful thing about art, is that it doesn't matter. As long as you're telling a story and it's your truth, then, I don't know. I'm kind of, I see all of the different sides of this dilemma, but as long as people are creating and we're getting out there and as long as we have the opportunity to audition for these things, I guess it really depends on the person actually casting the roles to make those kinds of decisions, to put the people they think best fit those individual roles. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with the creative process.
I do want to kind of piggyback on the East-West Players thing, and that is it's amazing, what that space at East-West Players allows them, or the space that they created there allows them to do. I always think back on I saw a production of the last 5 years at East-West Players, and it was amazing. It was amazing. We would have never seen that in any other space, because nobody would have taken the time to do that, to make the changes to the book, to make it non-specific to the characters they were written as. And what an awesome show to see. I saw it was Jennifer Paz and Michael K. Lee. And,
yes.
And Mark Lindahl, shout out to you, who was music directing. It was beautiful.
I wish I had seen it.
Oh, it was so good. This is the first time I had seen it. I had never seen the story. I didn't know anything about it, and it blew me away. And yeah, so I love that. I love when you have these roles that are traditionally written as white characters, and then you put people in them that what is that show at they do, it's called Miscast or something like that. It's a cabaret show in New York. I forgot, but
I think that's what it is. Miscast.
I love that show, And you know, I just love seeing people who play untraditional roles, or roles they usually wouldn't get to play. And yeah, so kudos again to each of those players for that.
Let's see. This is for you, Earl. But anyone can jump in if you can relate. What are your thoughts on self-producing?
Self-producing.
Yeah, I know we talked about this early on, especially when we were in the pandemic and we have to create stuff. But for you specifically, what's your thoughts on self-producing? I mean,
I think self-producing is great. I honestly think that producing, you know, helping to produce my own stuff is what has kept me going through the lean times. Because again, we were talking about earlier how in pandemic people were kind of getting antsy because they weren't performing, and I think that also translates to the non-pandemic times, like when actors are not acting, or singers aren't singing, dancers aren't dancing, performers aren't performing. It feels really bad, and everybody says write your own stuff, and it's true. If you can't get cast in anything, or you're not being seen, then create your own stuff. And I did that for many years. You know, I did sketch for many years, and we produced our own shows without the aid of like a bigger organization, and that got a lot of us seen. You know, that's what got me represented. That's what got me my agent, and my agents, and you know, I think there's definitely a lot of positive benefits, not just artistically but mentally, to producing your own stuff, even though it's hard. It's a lot. It can be a lot of work, but
yeah. Everyone in the chat that's watching right now on Facebook Live and Twitch, please post your questions. We will be posting them to the panelists in about 5 minutes. So do it right now. Post your questions now. Let's see, a couple more questions. Fun questions. This is fun. If you didn't pursue acting, what would have been your career instead of acting? If acting wasn't the thing, if like, let's say acting didn't exist, what would have been your career if you didn't get into acting?
I think at one point I thought I wanted to be a dentist.
Nice.
Because I visited a family friend's home, and they had their own like dentist chair, and they had this huge house, this beautiful house. And I thought, I guess they had a dentist chair in their house because they, like, you know, took care of their family members or something. I don't know. But it was like this big, beautiful house. And I thought, ooh, in order to have this big, beautiful house, I have to be a dentist. And I thought I would be a singing dentist, but I was very young. I don't know. I think I might have worked with children somehow. Although after the pandemic of doing homeschool, I don't know. I can't even, you know, control my own kids. Let me see. I can fold clothes very nicely, so maybe retail. I don't know.
Pretty legit. I used to, when I was in high school, I wanted to be a TV chef.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. I don't so much now, but I was doing a lot of cooking stuff in school, like, you know, home economics and catering class, and like I thought that was maybe something that I could get into with just like the restaurant industry. But like I was also watching a lot of Food Network at the time, and I just like I would love to just be a TV chef, because I don't know, I didn't want to work in a kitchen. I knew that much, but I really enjoyed cooking, and I was like, and I think I always knew that I wanted to be in front of the camera somehow. Before I even really discovered acting. But yeah, I don't know. There was a good amount of time where I was definitely like, I think TV chef or however. I didn't even know how I would do that, but I was like, I'm gonna figure this out and just, you know, see. But that didn't happen. So. It might still happen.
Who's your guy, your chef on Food Network?
I mean, back then it was like, you know, your Emerald Lives, your Mario. What's his name? Mario Batali. There's like a lot of Iron Chef. You know, like just like Morimoto. Yeah. You know. And then there was an Asian fellow too. What was his name? I think he was like Martin Yan or something like that.
There was Martin Yan. There was Ming Tsai.
Ming Tsai. There's an East meets West one.
Yeah.
Dude, this is all coming back to me.
Dude, yeah, you started talking my world. I'm just like,
yeah. You know, because they're not around, and now the Food Network's just like reality competitions and stuff, right?
Knife. I was like working on this.
Ooh.
Let's make some bows, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'm down.
Chicken adobo. You got chicken adobo going.
Chicken adobo going.
You have to, don't forget to defroze the chicken.
Don't forget to defroze the chicken. Girl.
I'm going to defroze it. I love that story so much.
So good.
I changed my answer. I want to change my answer. I love those travel shows. You know how people go for a living, they get to travel the world and stay in like these amazing places and try all of the local cuisine. I think I would want to do that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I want to do now.
Oh, I have, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially now.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist, and then that didn't happen. And then I wanted to be a paleontologist, and then that didn't happen. So I didn't become I was pre-med, so I did that for many years. And so I probably would have been a doctor if I didn't go into acting. That or I would have gone into IT. You know, probably web dev or something like that. Something really nerdy. But yeah, that's probably what I have done.
But you guys do all that archaeology and all that stuff in Tomb Raider, man.
I know, right? That's
right?
That's my oh gosh, when I learned that book Tomb Raider, I was like, oh my god! Like archaeology nerd in my head was just like, this is gonna be amazing.
Dream come true.
Yeah.
For me, it was going into priesthood.
Wow.
I was raised Catholic, and my parents were nailing that Catholic stuff towards me. I was an altar boy for 2 years. I was in the choir for 4 years. I was gung-ho to become a priest. And this is before high school. Like, I don't know why I thought that first. You know, I figured like, oh, I'm going to be
vocation, man.
I'll be good with God. I'm not going to be like, you know, that kind of thing. But until I think someone told me, and now this is an old joke at this point, someone told me like, well, you can't get married. I'm like, well, then I'm not becoming a priest. What's the fun then?
Oh, wow.
So
that was the deciding factor for you. That makes sense.
I think I'm going to add one last question on my end. Let's see. Well, what is the best? Darn it! I want to ask the other question, but I can't.
Ask them both.
Ask them both. Okay, the first one is: when did you realize you wanted to be an actor?
I was 8.
Wow.
I was 8. I was obsessed with Sharon Cuneta musical movies.
Right.
We had all of the, you know, all the videos on Betamax.
Nice.
You know, Beta, right?
Yeah, Beta.
And I watched her videos. That's how I learned how to sing Tagalog phonetically. But and then I watched Kids Incorporated and, you know, Annie and Sound of Music. And I don't know, I just loved singing. My music was always playing in the house. My dad learned how to play the guitar and the piano. And so there was always music. And we had a singing machine.
-1.
-1, 8 tracks. So I knew pretty young I wanted to perform and sing. And I sang at all the Filipino pancit parties, you know. Aunties, yeah. Auntie always asked me, sing Tagalog.
What's the first Tagalog song you learned?
Pangarap na bituin.
Oh, I don't even know that one.
I don't either.
Sampol. I'm just kidding. Don't.
Sampol.
Sampol.
Anyone?
What was the question? When we want? I got roped into doing a play in high school. I had no interest in doing it, but my friends were doing it, and they were just like, "Do it," and I was like, "Okay."
What was the play?
Man, it was like the Emperor's Nightingale or something. It was like a musical, and then as it was the first time we did it, and then the first applause we got, and I just got hooked on that feeling of standing in front of an audience and then go woo and all that, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. All right, I can dig this, and then I think that was what did it for me.
I specifically an actor. I don't think I specifically wanted to be an actor specifically until like college. Prior to that, I knew I always wanted to perform, but I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to have a boy band back in the day.
Hey.
So, I wanted to be Boyz II Men and Jodeci and all that stuff. Shy, all those people. But I remember in college, again, I was pre-med, and it was my third year. My roommate at the time was like, hey, let's take an acting class just to break all the craziness. So my third year, I took an acting class at Irvine, and that's when my life changed. And I was like, oh, this feels amazing compared to like looking at organic molecules for hours on end. So yeah, it took me a while. I was in my I was 20 or so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this next question at the end, after the Q&A. So we can get into Q&A right now. So this is a question from Sumali.com. He's asking, what's your dream role character that you haven't played yet?
I've always wanted to play Elphaba.
That was so awesome.
And I have auditioned several times for Hamilton.
Aww.
Is that just a general call, or do they make you?
I went in originally for Eliza,
Mhm.
and then they gave me the Angelica songs, and yeah, got to fly to New York and audition for all the peeps.
Oh, cool.
I choked at my audition though. I was really nervous.
Oh.
Yeah, cracked. And yes, I'm still waiting for that phone call from Lin-Manuel Miranda. I actually worked with, because I dreamt about working with Lin and in Hamilton, and then I actually worked with him. But I was, it was the finale, the season finale of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it was Lin's he was part of that show, and I was like, oh well, I got to work with him, just not in Hamilton. But it was pretty cool still.
That's pretty cool. I think for me, it's just like anything. Give me something Star Wars, please. You know what I mean? Like, there's all the Star Wars content coming out now. Like, can I be in one of those things, please? Give me one at least. I don't know, something like the Lord of the Rings, like just some kind of like maybe like trilogy or something that was just like, it's one of those things that like you watch as a kid and it just sticks with you until you're like an adult. I would like to have something like that and give that kind of effect to somebody, or maybe like a young Filipino who just like is like, wow, I don't know, something like that would be really amazing just to be part of.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah.
I have this kind of semi-running joke that there needs to be, at some point, a Filipino training buddy out there in the Jedi world that uses 2 short sabers like a scream of sticks. It would be
badass. Yeah, hell yeah.
It would be badass. My dream role, I don't know. I'm like what Lou said. It's ideally I want just put me in a loincloth and give me a battle axe. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. It can be digital, like it can be like on camera, but I want to do like a fantasy epic. I've always wanted like to work on World of Warcraft, like the voice of Thrall or something. You know, I wanna voice an orc and I actually had an odd for this for no, I didn't. Well, another one I want to do is if someday somehow I could ever play Optimus Prime, I want to do it. That would be so dope. I can't do the voice. Yeah.
Work on it.
Rollout.
So, they filmed Warcraft here. I couldn't get an audition. I was so choked.
Oh, for
Wow.
the
Warcraft film Duncan Jones did.
The Duncan Jones film, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish that film had done better, so they made it a sequel. But
yeah, did great overseas, internationally.
Did great, yeah. Gangbusters overseas. Here, it just didn't. You know, I don't know.
You know, Edwin, I just see this is me thinking too much about my answer. Okay, so I want to change my answer. I mean, I want to add to my answer. I would love to I would love to do more TV and film because I always mention musicals or shows that I would love to do on stage, but I would love to do more TV and film. And I don't know if it's if I'm getting pigeonholed or whatever, but I want to audition for more TV and film, and I want to audition for roles that are I know that I want to represent my Filipino heritage, but I would love to play a part where it didn't matter what my heritage was. You know, it could just be a story about a person, an interesting person. I don't know, but that has like typical things happen to them or whatever. But yeah, I would love to audition for more TV and film.
Our second question is from Mother Muchi. The question is, what Filipino media are you a big fan of personally? Were you a big fan of as a kid, music, shows, etc.?
We never had the TFC channel growing up, so I can't speak to that. But lately, I've been listening to a lot of Filipino rap actually, and it's been really cool to explore because I just it's like a totally different kind of, well, not different, but maybe just like I'd never dived into that before, and it's just cool to be doing that now and discovering all these artists who are doing things in the Philippines. That's been really cool.
Dude, did you notice the I don't know if you watched Falcon and Winter.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I was like, dude, that's Tagalog, man.
I know. I did the same thing. I was like, no. I'm gonna. Yeah. I know that's Tagalog. I guess this kind of piggybacks off the whole I wanted to be in a boy band like Boyz II Men, but like 90s Filipino R&B was my shit. I love Kai interlude, dropping harmony. It's Phil Am, but that's the stuff that I loved, all that stuff. Pnai, One Voice, all that stuff from the 90s was my jam. So yeah, like Say You'll Stay, all that stuff.
AJ Raphael, Kuya, Jocelyn Enriquez. I was a big fan of Sharon Cuneta growing up, and my parents did have TFC, so I got to watch. What was that show? It's like a game show.
No.
No, it's a game show where there was lots of dancers. I think it was a talent show.
I know what you're talking about.
But my parents would watch it, and I would just, every time I visited them, I would watch it with them.
Kuya Germs? No. Okay.
Was it a game show? Or was it just a talent? It was a talent show, I think.
Another question we have is from Alam Ortiz. This is for Deedee. What was your best favorite moment to become the voice of Pearl in Steven Universe?
My best favorite moment to land the role of Pearl. That was my best favorite moment. It was a dream of mine. It was a dream of mine to voice a cartoon character and for that cartoon character to be able to sing. So I have so many wonderful memories of voicing Pearl. I would have to say that the shows where I got to sing, I love the music from the show. And oh gosh, that's pretty much it. Anytime I got to say, Steven!
It's Over, Isn't It? Is like one of the most heartbreaking moments in the show.
Aw. I was actually in production with East West Players Tommy when I had to record that song, and I had to postpone the recording date because I was losing my voice, because Tommy is very like rock heavy, you know, music, and I had to postpone the recording because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to deliver. So yeah, I had to postpone. That was a tough song for me to sing, just because it goes from really low into pretty belty high. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite moments as Pearl. Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, so as I'm waiting for more questions to come up, come on, guys. Everyone, please post questions. Sorry. I have questions. I still have a lot of questions to ask you. One of them is, hold on, let me try to get something easy. Why not? What has been the difficult, before the pandemic, okay? Before the pandemic, what has been the difficult part of your career?
All of it.
Yeah. It's like, how do you choose? It's just hard, right? Like, just the industry is just in general, it's just hard, right? Like, I don't know if there's a specific thing.
I always think about. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I always think about this article I read. I think I can't remember which industry trade it was, but it was an op-ed piece about showbiz, and they called it the seesaw of death. And I was like, I mean, it's kind of a dramatic term, but it makes sense. You know, working in the industry, some days you have like these tremendously high highs, and then literally the next day you're sitting at home and there's nothing. and this happens over and over again over the course of your career, right? You're on tour for you're doing promo for this big project, and then all these cool things are happening, and then all of a sudden nothing for like maybe months. And the thing is that that's not the exception to the rule. That's part of the process, and learning to not just tolerate it, but kind of love the process in its totality is, I think, essential to you know, longevity. I think having a good support network and all that stuff. So yeah, there's that. That's the hardest part. That things are just like this constantly.
Yeah, it's I learned a lot about myself during this pandemic. I lost my acting agents, my theatrical agents. I lost them at the beginning of the pandemic, so that was tough. I'm just doing a lot of reflecting, not necessarily looking back. I'm trying not to look back. I'm always trying to look forward, trying to be positive. But I have so much to be grateful for, you know, without sounding corny. But I have so much to be grateful for, that just learning to sort of live in the moment and enjoying the space that I have with my family, and concentrating a lot on just being a mom and a wife and a friend and a sister and a daughter. You know, a lot of things sort of, you know, priorities shift, and I love this industry so much, and I still want to continue working, but my focus has been so much more on just trying to stay present for my family and my and just being grateful in the moments, you know, just like in everyday life. I really do hope that I can continue working, because it just brings me so much joy to be in a room with creative people, to be collaborative, to sing. I try to sing and dance even in my kitchen every day, just because you use this muscle, it kind of goes awry. Yeah. So I'm just grateful for whatever comes my way. At this point, I'm just really like, stopping and smelling the flowers and being grateful for all of the gifts.
Call up Lin-Manuel.
I don't think that's corny at all. I think that's for real.
Yeah. Thanks.
Let's see. We have a question here. If there's one work you've done you want more people to check out, what would that be?
All of it. Everything. Watch it all.
Go to our Instagrams.
I know. Play more Tomb Raider. I don't know.
I will be performing for the first time in a long time with the party. We're going to have a one-night only concert in Orlando, Florida at House of Blues.
Cool.
And it's coming up September 11th. It's going to be crazy fun and nostalgic, because I'm a 90s kid, so talk about 90s music, but yeah, so we'll be singing a lot of the old hits and maybe some new ones, but that's coming up for me.
Cool. Most will lead to that. What are you guys working on right now? Anything you want to say or reveal, other than the 2 projects that Deedee has in the back channel, but you won't say it to us at all? Darn it.
Secret.
Secret. NDA, huh?
NDA. Watch Trese.
No, watch Trese.
Yeah, I ain't even in that, but watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to get a second season. So, folks, woo,
I know, right?
Watch it.
Hook me up, guys.
Yeah, I can't watch the kids. My kids can't watch it yet. They're too young, I think.
Have you watched any of it?
I haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers.
Oh my god, it's I like it. I like it.
Is it scary?
There's a lot of scary stuff. But overall it's fun. It's just, I don't know. Besides all of like the scary stuff and the creepy things that are happening, I just feel like a lot of pride like watching our mythology being put on display. I think it's amazing. And the stories that we grew up with, like the Tikbalang and Capre and all that stuff, and to have it like reach a wider audience, it's kind of mind-blowing. So yeah,
it's so rich. There's so much there,
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's about time.
there are times when it was, I don't know why, but like she would start chanting in Tagalog, and I would get emotional over it. I'm like, I understood what that was.
Cool.
Yeah, so the hot Tikbalang. It's very true. And
No spoilers.
I know. Shh.
What does Tabi Tabi Po mean? I have no idea.
That's like excuse. So like
it's like like Tabi is like aside, right?
Yeah.
Are you saying step aside, please?
Or it's
something
like
that.
The functional translation is excuse, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember growing up, whenever we would go to like a graveyard, my mom would always say that. She's like, you have to say tabi tabi, or because like, there are ghosts here.
Yeah.
Oh, because like you have to make room for them.
You have to like ask.
Yeah, it's like a
crossover their
it's sort of like a respect thing.
Respect,
or else they curse you.
Yeah. When I lived in the Philippines for 1 year, a city guy from Chicago know nothing about the countryside of the Philippines. Your cousins are telling you all these crazy stories you don't want to believe, but then you start believing them when they purposely leave you in the middle of the road, broken road, all these dead trees, and they're hiding, laughing at you while you're scared shitless under the moon. Yeah, those stories seems real, especially the story with the part when we're walking to school and we're passing this ant hill. I know it's an ant hill. But they're telling me like, no, there's a dwarf living there.
Dwarf living
Right.
there. Yeah.
You have to respect, and by if you want to cross, just passing the anthill, just say, "Excuse me." They go, it's an anthill. No, there's a door. If you don't do it, you're gonna be hurt. You'll be hurt.
They told you the same thing, except they said it in English. Tabi tabi, tabi tabi po.
Oh my goodness.
And to not circumvent, but to push that folklore to me, to make it more believable. One of my uncles, he had a red sore eye, like really bad, and he just said like, yeah, I didn't say excuse me there, and a rock or stone hit me in this eye, and I was just okay. I'm so
That's traumatizing.
And I want to go back home to Chicago. Please get me out of here. No, I'm kidding. But it's like those stories. My God, scared the shit out of me.
My goodness. Then my kids are definitely not watching. No, I'm joking, but not yet. Because I think it's like 18 plus. You have to be 18 years old or something.
It's intense for kids.
Yeah. Cool. I want them to visit the Philippines. I don't want them to be scared.
You just gotta tell them all the rules. They just gotta know what's what, and they'll be fine. You know, carry some garlic around. Yeah, like a silk pouch. You gotta carry the garlic in there.
But then you have to tell them to come home before 5 o'clock or before sunset, because the aswangs or the flying around to pick up little babies. Right. So yeah, crazy stories.
Spooky.
The tiyanak, all that stuff.
So
growing up, I was like, why do I know all this?
Like, I saw the hashtag tabi-tabi po. I'm like, oh wait, don't mistake tabo.
No,
that's different.
That is different.
Yeah. Tabo po.
Well, equally scary, I think. So with that note, we're about to finish up here. It's 3:57. Before we go, I'd like to thank the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Hollywood presenting the panel, our 8th panel. I'd like to thank our panelists that gave us all these crazy stories and their life experiences. And I hope you, the audience, has learned anything from us or not. I don't know. But whatever you picked up and it resonates with you, then that's great and awesome. Let's see. Before we go, is there anything? Oh yeah. Can you let them know your social medias, where they can reach you at?
Well, you can reach me at Ticzon. That's at ELTICZON on Instagram and Twitter. It's down there somewhere. I see it scrolling right now.
Oh yeah, I saw it too. On Twitter at Deedee Magno Hall, and then on Instagram at Oh, there it is. Deedee Magno Hall official.
Nice. I am at Early Be Good with an E at the end. I'll put it in chat. Everywhere on the internet.
Early Be Good.
Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all the things. Snapchat, OnlyFans. Just kidding.
How about the two things you're in, Earl? I mean, not like Pangeekery and.
Oh, you mean Supportive White Parents?
Yeah, go ahead.
Supportive White Parents. We're actually not having shows right now because Second City is currently closed. Room to Improv, same deal until theaters open. My improv troupe, my Asian American theater troupe is we're on hiatus until everything opens. And Pangeekery, we're actually at the Geekish Network. In the chat, and I am there every Monday, every other Tuesday, cooking geeky stuff. So last week we did an episode themed on Game of Thrones. Our big thing was the Sir Seafood Lannister stir fry, if you want to pack that up, unpack that, that's one of the dishes we cook that day.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
And then Nerdtastic on Sundays. I'm on here a lot. Please don't blame me.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Edwin A. Santos. Simple. I'm very active on Twitter. If you want to find me there more often, I talk about a lot of junk stuff. And what else? You can find the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Hollywood on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. This video that we're doing now, we're recording it, will be on our YouTube channel as well. And you can watch this over again on Facebook Live on the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Hollywood. That's a mouthful right there. On their Facebook page. I know, I should just use their acronyms instead. But we have two of them, and people get confused. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just say the whole thing. You can find this. I think this will be on Twitch permanently. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check on that. And you can find the Filipino Hollywood Actors Panel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Still creating that YouTube channel. I'm taking so long on that one. Thank you, everyone. It's 4:01. People have to go. People have to go places on Saturdays.
What?
But thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to invite all three of you for the 10th anniversary, which will be in 2 years from now. Hopefully, we'll be in a theater, not in this cube box. I hope you can come. Lou, I can't pay for your airfare. You can find
Sorry,
some way to fly over to LA.
That's it. Earl's got me, right? You got me.
No, you'll be here working.
That's the plan.
That is the plan. Awesome.
Maraming
salamat po.
Yeah, thank you guys. Happy Philippines Independence Day.
Yes.
Mabuhay.
Mabuhay. Everybody, please take care and stay safe and healthy in mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
Sending you guys love. It was really nice to talk with you all. Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody.